Well, the anti-Israel United Nations has declared for the first time that a famine has struck Gaza City. The Integrated Food Security Phase classification claims food shortages in the north have grown so severe the situation now meets the official criteria of a famine. Israel has denied the reports as lies and modern blood libel. Joining us now is Foreign Ministry Special Envoy and former Deputy Mayor of Jerusalem, Hassan-Nahoum. Fleur, good to catch up with you again. Thank you for joining us. Look, the United Nations has long spewed hateful anti-Israel rhetoric. What do you make of these claims now of a famine?
Well, first of all, let's talk about the fact that last March 24, the same organisation connected to the UN made the same claim. And about a month or 2 months later, the review board met and found that that was false. And so we have an organization that already has a record of putting out alarmist and false reports that are later detracted. But you know what happens? The report comes out, as Prime Minister says, it's a modern blood libel, anti-Semitism rises, and then they say, oops, oh, we didn't mean it. No, it wasn't exactly what we said. So this is an organization that we have to take with a real pinch of salt, because this has happened before, firstly. Secondly, they've had to alter their own criteria for famine to stick Israel, to stick Gaza into that category. They've actually cooked the numbers in order to be able to do this. And on top of that, they've ignored numbers. We have at the moment in Gaza, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which has distributed over 150 million meals in the last few months. And those numbers, surprisingly, are not included in the IPC report. And on top of all that, the UN really are the last organization that should be talking or saying anything, because they actually employ Hamas terrorists. 12 of them were part of the massacre on the 7th of October, and we're still waiting for them to admit that they employed terrorists and that still continue employing terrorists. We're still waiting for that.
That's a very, very good point, Fleur. Benjamin Netanyahu has ordered talks on freeing the hostages, even as the Israeli military ramp up their offensive in Gaza City. Can you talk to us about the current state of the hostages? What do we know? And what are the latest plans for their rescue?
Well, you know, if there's anybody starving in Gaza right now, it's the hostages. We've seen the pictures. They look like Holocaust survivors. It's actually very, very sad. The estimation is that there's 20 alive, and we know there's 30 dead. We want them all home. And in the latest round of what could turn out to be negotiations, the Hamas are saying that they will only release 10. Now, this is a very difficult thing for Israel to agree to, because what do you tell the other 10 families of the living hostages in Holocaust conditions over there in the tunnels of Gaza? At this point, we need a full return of all the hostages now. And unfortunately, and I say unfortunately, the chances of rescue are very slim, and therefore we have no choice but to get them home with a negotiated.
Okay. Look, it appears we've lost Fleur's connection there. But, I mean, she does raise a good point, James, because we don't know what the state of the hostages are. You've got the UN saying, oh, well, there's a famine. What about the hostages?
Yeah.
What about the hostages? But they are not eating. They're being starved as well.
The other interesting thing is this suggestion by Hamas that they would release half of the 20 we believe are alive. And the problem with that is Hamas keep doing this. And if they release only half the hostages and keep 10, well, Hamas will be in power for another, 3 months, 6 months?
Exactly.
And so they just prolong their reign of terror over Gaza and, of course, the suffering of these Israeli families, not to mention the hostages.
No, exactly. And let's talk about Benjamin Netanyahu, because, of course, he did that exclusive interview with our colleague Shari this week. And one of the most important points, I think, out of the interview as well, that doesn't get spoken about a lot is the fact that Israel is not just fighting for its own survival. It's actually fighting for the survival of the entire Western world, because it's fighting against terror. Yet you've got Western leaders like Anthony Albanese who are demonising Israel. Well, Israel is doing exactly what Australia would do if the shoe was on the other foot.
Yeah.
But he all but confirmed in that interview with Shari Markson that Israel's relationship with the West, including Australia, is at rock bottom. This is a bit of what he said.
We've had a great relationship over the years. I think it's been gone astray because I think leaders did not show the strength and conviction that they should have when we're fighting. Actually, we're fighting the war of Western civilization against these barbarians. And I think ultimately, I think most Australians will get it. If they don't get it now, they certainly got it. I think many of them will get it today, and many will get it once we finish this war and give a future of peace and prosperity.
I mean, clearly there is a huge level of frustration from Benjamin Netanyahu towards what are normally allies of Israel, including Australia.
And you've got to remember, the protests against Israel began on October the 8th. Mm-hmm. Before Israel had done anything to even try to get their own hostages back, protests had begun against the state of Israel. No wonder Benjamin Netanyahu is incredibly frustrated.
No, absolutely, absolutely.